Welcome back to the Late for Loadin podcast. I'm Chris, and I'm here with my co-host Josh. And on this week's episode, we have Anthony Martinez of the band Dark Divine. And this conversation was really cool because I think, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's the youngest guest we've had on the podcast so far.
Yeah, and the fun part about that is as we continued on, his age kept getting lower and lower and lower.
Yeah, but it was fun to pick his brain about what it's like to be in a young up and coming band in the industry now, because it is so much different than what it was when Josh and I were getting started. And we talked about how the industry's really like shifted towards this like short form TikTok, Instagram reel kind of content, and how it's brought along all these different trends and stuff. But at the same time, how it's like it's important to be involved in that, but also not like just completely change your identity and like follow those trends to the point that you're like sacrificing the art and your like
creative vision.
Exactly. So it's important to like dip your toe in that, but not get lost in the sauce. And we also touched on how like being in the right place at the right time, which is something that I like always talk about. Like being in the right place at the right time is super important, but you have to be prepared to like take that step when that opportunity presents itself. So we touch on how like, you really have to work on your skill set and your mindset and be prepared for an opportunity to arise. Being in the right place at the right time is important, but if you're not prepared, it doesn't mean anything.
And at the same time, it's hard to prepare because you don't know when that moment's going to strike.
Right, it's kind of like you got to just be prepared all the time.
At all times. Yep. It's crazy. And then we got into how internet fame doesn't always translate to live performance and ticket sales and success, But it was also fascinating to hear that he was an original member of the new up-and-coming band, Not Enough Space, and how transitioning from an instrument to a frontman, the type of effect that had and how the challenges that it came with,
Losing your safety net of that instrument that you're holding, like that security blanket, and then going up there with nothing but your voice and being the person that everybody's looking at, like that's a whole other extra level of stress.
And then we too got into how the music industry can be confusing for young up and coming bands. But what he didn't know, and we got to touch on a little bit, is how it could be confusing for old people too, because when it pivots and goes into a platform like TikTok that I personally, for the life of me, have not been able to figure out. It gets confusing for us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where to start with that shit. My mind's still stuck back in my top 8 on MySpace.
I remember when we got to pick like a top 16 or something.
And that was a big fucking deal.
A big moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But we also touched a little bit on these like, established, not quite legacy artists at this point, because they're still like the contemporaries of our time, but like the Chris Motionlesses and the Andy Biersacks, who have really like co-signed Dark Divine and what they're doing, and it's kind of given them a boost in their visibility, which is really awesome. And I can say personally, like, back in the day, getting with Texas, when we were just starting to like do support tours and get out there and really try to make something out of what we were doing, getting a co-sign from any of our peers felt massive. It feels like it gives a level of credibility to what you're doing.
Absolutely, especially in that genre, in that culture. It really kind of says, okay, cool, well, we're here to be the next generation. We're not trying to rip you off. We're just trying to be that next generation and come behind you, pay all the homage we need to pay to show you that we're here to stay.
Yep, absolutely. And we also touched on some lineup changes that the band has gone through, and how sometimes these kinds of changes they're kind of necessary for the growth of the band. And while they can for sure bring on some backlash, because sometimes fans can end up being in these sort of parasocial relationships because of social media. They feel like they know you more than they actually know you because they're interacting with you on a regular basis. And so I think people tend to take these lineup changes and things like that personal. But sometimes they're just a necessary part of the process for growth for everybody, both the band and the people leaving the band. Sometimes it's the best for all parties involved.
A point that I've been trying to make, and that we have had this conversation a couple of times on here, is that the one disadvantage that I think bands have today is the fact that they have to grow under the lens and under the public eye, where we and bands before us would, we would tour for 2-3 years before anybody would even know who we were.
Yep.
So we got to work those kinks out before anybody knew the band existed. Nowadays, bands are blowing up on the internet, and, all that growth process that they have to go through with figuring out what works and what doesn't work once you get out there on that road, especially in the early days when you're in a van and literally on top of each other packed like sardines, that lifestyle's not for everybody. But now, they're succumb to the scrutiny of something may not work out. And, fans like you said, take it personally, and then it becomes a downfall to what they know the band as.
It's a cool episode, I think, for everybody listening, but I think it was really informative for us as well as guys who've been doing it for as long as we have, to get to pick the brain of a younger guy who is on the rise right now and kind of starting from a completely different place than we did.
Absolutely.
So I think it was an opportunity for you and I to really kind of learn as well.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode with Anthony Martinez of Dark Divine. This episode of Late for Loadin is brought to you by Rockabilia.com, your go-to destination for 100% official band merchandise. No bootlegs, no cheap knockoffs, just authentic gear straight from the bands you love. From metal and punk to classic rock and beyond, Rockabilia has over 500,000 items in stock. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, patches, and even rare, hard-to-find collectibles. If you're looking for something exclusive, Rockabilia drops brand new limited edition merch every month. So if you see something you like, grab it before it's gone. And in fact, we just placed an order for some new merch ourselves. I picked up a very, very cool Linkin Park Meteora hoodie. Josh, did you grab something?
Yeah, I grabbed a couple things. I got a super limited Eminem tour shirt, and then what you mentioned, not missing out. I saw a Meatloaf tour shirt from 2005 that I really, really wanted. Unfortunately, they didn't have my size, so I missed out on that one.
Well, there you have it. Don't wait. Our friends at Rockabilia are hooking up Late for Loadin listeners with 10% off when you use code LOAD at checkout. So if your band tee collection needs a refresh and you want to support the artists who make the music we love, hit up rockabilia.com, load up your cart, and drop in code LOAD, LOAD, for that sweet discount. Now let's roll today's show. Anthony Martinez, welcome to the Late for Loadin podcast. How are you doing, my friend? Thanks for giving us some of your time.
Dude, I'm good. Glad to be on this. This is fun.
So you're only 21 or 22 years old?
24.
Right? Oh, 24. Okay, well.
You're still a baby.
Yeah, I wish I was 21.
You have experienced a great amount of success being so young, right? Like, how are you handling this, processing it?
I mean, it's been like a fucking movie, to be honest. I just kind of take everything as like one section of a movie after another, and I just like doing stuff. So any chance I get to do stuff that's not, work a day job, I'm happy.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I started playing in bands really young. That's how Josh and I met, is we played in our first band ever together, and I was an actual child. But Josh was pretty young too, and like...
Were you 11?
I was 11.
I think that's when I started my first band. I did this like band camp out of some music store at 11.
That's sick. See, I wish I would have done something like that too. Because instead, Josh and I were just making like horrific noises in my grandparents' basement, and God bless my grandparents for putting up with it, because it was none of it was good. Not a single bit of it was good, and I would not want the world to find any of the really bad recordings that are out there.
I have one.
I do too.
Oh, you need to show me then. I need to hear what it sounds like.
Uncle, remember we recorded at your uncle's house?
That's the one shit? I have too.
I have it too.
And we're never going to let that slip out onto the internet, because no one ever needs to hear that.
I don't even need to hear that again.
Me either. But I have it just in case I want to like mentally hurt myself one day.
I save all of my I have my old computer backed up onto a drive, and I have my old like first vocal recordings when I tried to like actually record vocals for stuff. And it's bad. I did a cover of like, I think it was My Curse.
Oh yeah, classic.
By Killswitch.
Yep. And that's a tough one too, when you're trying to cover someone like Howard Jones with such like an iconic, powerful voice. It's like, oh God. But yeah, I mean, starting young, and I mean, I didn't start making real headway into my music career until I was around 20 or 21 too. Like, what was that process like? Like, did you grow up did you come from a musical family? Were you around music all the time, or is that something you kind of discovered on your own?
We're just going to keep referring to him as 21 because it sounds funny.
That's fine. So that's funny. I look 12, so if I shave, I look 12.
You know what? Run with that for as long as you can, man.
Yeah, if I ever need to like knock 10 years off, I'll just shave eventually.
I'll tell you what, I'm 35, but if you looked at all my gray hair, you'd think I'm in my 50s. So
I thought you were.
Hey, get fucked. Stick with the 21 thing for as long as you can.
I didn't come from a musical family, really. My uncle plays guitar, but that's about it. I didn't really do much until high school. I was in marching band, and that kind of like put me in front of an audience for the first time.
Yeah.
I'd played guitar already a little bit, but that was the first time I had ever actually like performed for a bunch of people, and then it kind of stemmed from that. I joined my first like band that did shows, which is funny because it's another Thriller band now.
Which band is that?
Not Enough Space. I was in that band from like 2018 to 2022, and then I did vocals in another band, and then that kind of fell off, and Dark Divine hit me up to do stuff. So it was very like sequential, very just kind of like one thing after another.
Yeah, that's kind of how it happened for me too, in a way. Like Josh and I started a band when I was young. That band fell apart, reformed in multiple different ways. Josh moved to Florida. I started another band where I switched from drums to guitar. That band went on for quite a while, and we built up a little bit of a buzz in our local scene. And I met the Texas in July guys. I booked them, and I was like trying to schmooze and get my band on tour with them, and made friends with them. And then when their guitar player quit, they called me to fill in for a tour. I ended up in that band. That band toured forever all over the place. I met the Ghost Inside guys. Their guitar player quit. They asked me to join that band as Texas was breaking up. It's like a very, very similar story where like unintentionally just being in the right place at the right time is kind of just
that's a huge thing.
Yeah,
dude, literally, like everything that's happened for Dark Divine has literally just been like right place, right time, because we came out of COVID, and so there really wasn't like any music being performed at the time. So like we were kind of that first wave of just sort of bands that was found on kind of TikTok.
Yeah,
and it was just right place, right time, and it's just really been kind of like a one thing after another.
It's crazy how like, you know, working hard at your craft, writing songs, getting better at singing, playing guitar, drums, whatever, is important. But so much of it is just being prepared for when that opportune moment strikes, you know, like being in the right place at the right time, and also having the skill set and like foresight to be able to pounce on that moment when it presents itself too. Like that's huge.
No, for sure. Like luck is one thing, but like,
yeah,
I pride myself. Like my guys have good heads on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And we just have kind of taken luck and gone that extra step methodically, and we're
if you're not prepared to like execute when that time strikes, then that luck means nothing, you know.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
if you're not ready to capitalize on the moment, then like what is even the point of having the moment? Because that moment is gone like that these days. So if you aren't prepared to make the most of it, then that point or that moment is completely pointless. So
that's a question. That's a question that we could get to it now, I guess, because this is the way that the conversation is going. But I'm curious, like, how do you prepare for that if you're not ready for that moment? Like, because it's not like it's a predictable moment, right? It just kind of happens. So how do you prepare for that?
I mean, it's I'm not the business guy in my band right now. That would be Robbie. So like it is just kind of like taking the most logical step forward. And you know, there's an air of risk involved in anything in this industry, but like it's all calculated. You know, you kind of just take in metrics as you get them, and then just see like what calculated risk is gonna have the best outcome. You know, based on your fan base, based on, you know, your circle of whoever you're around. You know, we're I guess you could say the word was opportunistic, but like logically opportunistic.
Sure. I mean, I think it even goes further than that too. Like, I don't think you can ever prepare for a moment like that to happen, because it's completely at random, right? Because like like there have been bands that I've been fans of that I've been so certain were the next big thing, right? And it just never happens for them. And then there's bands that I just, not that I dislike, but I'm just like, oh yeah, that band's cool. And for some reason that band explodes. And so you never know what's going to hit and when. And so I think the only thing you can really do is just...
Are you talking about anybody in particular?
I mean...
Are we talking shit?
I mean...
no, don't.
I mean, there are bands I have in mind, but I'm not going to do that.
All right, okay.
Because
what... in traffic.
No, I'm not going to do that. Because my opinion...
Let's say it with your chest.
My opinion is not... what, you know, it is not the final say, so I'm not going to put that out there. But but I think the only thing you can really do is just like work on writing songs, keep writing songs, work on, and I think this is especially important these days, more so than it was when Josh and I were kind of coming up in this industry, and it's kind of how this has evolved. But you have to have like visual content to go with your music. Like you have to have a whole package now. And so, you know, I look at bands like you guys or like a Spirit Box, like these bands who took the pandemic when we couldn't play shows to like stay active and be creative in other ways. Like Alpha Wolf started a Patreon that they were very active with, and Spirit Box put out a ton of music, and they put out these really cool music videos. And like obviously Courtney did that like one take in studio vocal performance of a song that went super viral.
That's cool. I didn't see that. I got to try to look at that. That sounds cool.
You know, but that's an example of like things have changed, where when I was coming up, Josh was coming up, like you put out music and then you went and toured. Even if you weren't a signed band, like that was the way your band growed. That's how you got exposure. And like, that's just not the way anymore.
It's different now.
Yeah.
It's weird because like the whole culture of shows changed after the pandemic. Like we had the benefit of kind of being like on the up and up after that pandemic, so there was no shift for us. It was more or less that's just like where we were coming up. But like the whole like culture of the industry has shifted to where it's like everything is now geared towards the short form content thing.
Yes, like
everything is geared towards that, like, you know, TikTok moment, that Instagram reel moment. It's I kind of hate it, but it is, you know,
I agree too.
That shit didn't exist back in our day. Like short form content, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, no, that wasn't a thing. And the thing is I like all of that kind of content. I just don't like it in bite-sized form. Like I miss the days where bands would like put out studio updates and you'd get like a real look at what they're doing.
Those.
Not just this like 60-second blip of like something goofy. They like, give me I want to know what are you like doing in there? Yeah. Like what's the process? Like, give me the goods. I don't want a snapshot. Give me the goods. So I struggle with that personally, even though I know that it's important, but it's like I'm from a different era of this, you know.
Then you get in your head because then there's an expectation to make those moments happen from like labels or from whoever, and so now you're like, all right, is this good enough to be in this 30-second clip, or is this you're just like gearing and you're shifting the whole song towards what could be in a video? I don't know.
I think it's got to be important to just go out there and do what you do, and don't tie any of that pressure to it, and see what happens. And if the moment happens, it's gonna happen, you know. But if you force it, you know, you can almost sacrifice the creative, because in a sense you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah,
you know, because those moments are so that, you know, they're so unpredictable.
Well, yeah, I think what it comes down to is that ultimately the one thing that hasn't changed between the way the industry used to be and how it is now is that the song is king. Like nothing.
Absolutely.
A viral moment has maybe become important, but it will not beat a good song. Like you can have a viral moment with a bad song that might give you a leg up, but if the song isn't good, it's not going to have lasting power. The only way to have a lasting impact is to write good songs. And that's ultimately what I was getting back to is like, you can't prepare for these moments because you can't manufacture it, like, because you never know what is and isn't going to be this big, viral sensation. All you can do is work on your craft, work on your songs, work on, your skill set. And outside of the musical side of things, you have to be thinking big picture, full package with the visuals, and how you're going to deliver these things to people. And that stuff, that's the important shit. The viral moment is an added plus if you can get it, but you just got to work on your shit, man. That part hasn't changed.
Yeah, I've always said, like, to my band, I'd rather have logistic growth than like a random exponential growth from a TikTok that kind of is short lived.
Yep. Chris, I'm interested actually from this perspective. Does the Ghost Inside do things to try and find that viral moment? Like, has a seasoned band taken those steps to put forth a lot of focus on short form content and looking for that viral moment, or you don't have to do it. Old guys just doing it the way we did it?
So we have brought on a social media team to help us just with social media in general, because we're all bad we're bad with doing it consistently. Mm-hmm. And so we brought on a team just to run like the band's Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, but and they'll run ideas by us and we give it a yay or nay before they post it and stuff. But you know, we're not out here like trying to manufacture these moments either, though. Like, really, what that team's doing is like looking at the content that of us that we have sent them, and our content people we take on tour with us have sent them, and they're trying to find the bits and pieces from that content that they think will have the most impact. We're not actively on tour organizing, you know, all of us to stand in the green room and do like a TikTok dance or something. I mean, maybe we should. Maybe that's where we're fucking up. But
I mean, if you don't have to, if you're like you're at a point where you don't have to do it, like save yourself that fucking headache, because it's like there's so many videos. Like we'll record a video of something and we'll just like look back at it and we're just like, fucking, what are we doing, dude?
Yeah.
And Andrew could go viral flipping his leg around and using it as a table.
This is true. And we have a ton of video content of that too.
Can I share something with y'all? Actually, I have this coffee mug and I've had it for a lot of years. It has 2015 on it. And I felt like this particular episode was the one to bring it out on. I'm getting over being sick and my wife made me some throat coat, but this is the mug. Okay.
Oh, is that the Brides?
It is the Brides, but it has a motionless and white logo on
Really?
it.
Is that like bootleg?
Do you see the motionless logo?
Yeah. Is that bootleg?
It's 101 Mexico. Once you go to Mexico, you'll know they do all kinds of bootleg merch, and they just...
That's amazing.
So we would go out and trade guitar picks, like authentic guitar picks for bootleg merch, because they actually do have some cool ass shit.
The bootlegs we did South America last year, and their bootlegs are so we stole merch designs for merch that we used on tour last year from some of the bootlegs because they were so sick.
Some of the shit is just wild, but I have had this coffee mug for so long and I never knew what I was going to do with it. And fate had in mind that I was going to drink throat coat out of it on this particular episode. Let's back up a little bit. I'm curious, has your family always been supportive of the direction you chose to go, or did they have it? Because I feel like my dad had it in his brain that I was supposed to be an athlete. So like when I chose the music direction, he was bummed. He won't probably tell me he was bummed, but I know he was.
I'm sure he's proud of you now, but I could see back then.
Yeah, but in the beginning, he was bummed. He wanted me to. I was a good baseball player. He wanted me to go that route. So I'm curious, was your family supportive of the music, or did they have like other plans in mind?
My family was always supportive of like what I was doing musically, because I was supposed to be. I went to college for music education.
Okay, cool.
And so like I was always kind of in music. I was going to teach it. And
so you're like a smart metalcore musician. You actually know what you're talking about.
I dropped out. Like
most of us are talking chugs and opens and ones and all that bullshit. And you're over here talking about music theory.
Yeah, no, I was supposed to be a music educator. And then Dark Divine started happening, and then touring started happening. I was literally going to, at one point, I was in Dark Divine, 2 other bands, going to school full time. And I was working.
Jesus.
And yeah, that was as fun as it sounded. So eventually I had to kind of...
Was it just trying to find which one was going to work for you fastest?
Yeah, because we hadn't really done anything big yet in Dark Divine. So it was just another one of my side projects that I was trying to figure out what would work. So I was... eventually I just kind of had to trim some fat out of my life. And so college just wasn't... If I was going to make any of these risks, if I was going to take any of these leaps of faith, it was going to be now, or else I was never going to do it. So I was just like... I'm going to have to drop out. I'm going to have to put college on the back burner and try this thing and see if it works. And my parents weren't thrilled about that, but we did this one show in Orlando, and it was kind of our first big headliner thing at the House of Blues. And we packed it out pretty well, and I brought my parents in, and I think seeing that, cool. They were sort of like, oh, okay, there's something here. And, maybe he's not just trying to quit college to be a rock star.
I mean, the cliche thing is the opportunity to pursue a band that is starting to pick up some steam is that's kind of a once in a lifetime thing. And the chance to get that music education degree is literally always going to be there. You can go back and do that when you're 60 if you want to, you know what I mean? Yep. That opportunity never goes away. You have to jump on something like this while it presents itself.
The end of the education process is I'm working at a high school or something, and I'm teaching, and I'm there's no real way out of it once I get into that. So it's I could either do this really fun thing that might work out really well, or I could just play it safe and wish I would have.
So at 21, you got a lot of years ahead of you, so you're You got plenty of
Yeah,
you
for
got
sure.
plenty of time.
I'm going to keep making him younger as this episode goes on. So as of right now,
As a 12-year-old musician. Huh?
yes, exactly. There you go. So at what point did you like? So you said you had all these bands and you were doing school. At what point did you realize that like Dark Divine was turning into something more, and it was time to focus specifically on that?
The first show we played, I remember we were playing at a venue, like this venue in Orlando. It was called The Haven. Now it's called Conduit. We were opening up for Famous Last Words. It was our first like ever show, our first 8-day run. And I wasn't used to there being like fans that you don't know coming to the shows to see. So I remember like we showed up for load-in and doors opened and I was just kind of getting ready to get my makeup done. And then like 3 or 4 people came up and they're like, "Hey, what's up, Anthony?" And I was kind of just like, "Hey, how are you?" So that was when I was kind of like, oh, this is like a real thing. Like people actually give a shit about the music and people are coming to see this. And we packed it out pretty well. And it was probably one of the, at that point, it was the best show I had ever played. And it was right out the gate. So that was when I was sort of like, okay, there's something here that I'm not getting from these other projects and these other like life activities.
That's awesome. That's cool. Those first fan interaction moments they can be jarring, but also super cool to realize that, wait a minute, why do you know my name? Why do you know who I am? You know what I mean?
Like, I literally was like taken aback. I was like, this is the thing. This is the thing I heard about in the movies. And like,
yep.
it's
yeah.
happening.
I remember after I joined Texas, about like 6 years into our first full year of doing like real touring, like support tours and stuff.
Yeah.
I went to see, I don't know, I think I went to go see Of Mice and Men or something, and I walked into a show, and as soon as I walked in the door, somebody went, "Oh shit, you're the guy from Texas in July," and I went, "This is fucking wild." I don't feel like to me, and I'm sure you feel this way too. Like I'm just a fucking dude. I'm no different than any. Like I paid to get into the show that you're at, also too. You know what I mean? It's like I'm no different than you. Why are you having that reaction? Right. It's just so. I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic that it takes a minute to get used to, because even still to this day, I still feel like that teenager that's just going to shows with Josh because I'm a fan. You know, I don't feel any different now, this far into my career than I did back then. My body feels different, mentally, I'm still that stoked teenage kid that's just happy to be in a venue watching live music. So, when people approach me, I don't know, it's never a normal thing. I'm happy to talk to people and meet people, but it doesn't, to me, I don't feel special or worthy of that kind of reaction. You know what I mean?
It's a trip.
I know.
No, it's a trip. I mean, I just got recognized. We were at Universal. I was in a group, a friend group, and some people I saw this dude who's just kind of like staring me down. And I was just kind of like, oh, I think he knows something. And he left, and then some minutes go by, he came back and he goes, "Oh, you're Anthony from Dark." I was like, oh, fuck. But no, I never get used to it, but it's always super cool.
Yeah.
And it's super cool, like where it happens. Like I got recognized at a gas station, something random, and it's just super weird.
Yeah.
What's been cool for me recently, and it's pretty unexpected where it's been happening to me recently. But so I live in Maryland. I live in like a pretty small, the farm-ish town suburb of I'm like 45 minutes from Baltimore, DC-ish area. And I was taking my daughter to preschool the other day, and I was wearing a Ghost Inside hoodie, and this other kid's mom just randomly goes, "Oh, nice hoodie. I love that band." And I was like, "Oh, this is weird."
Weird.
And she's like, starts talking to me about it. I'm like, I got to be honest, it would be really weird for me to not say something. I'm in the band. And she started freaking out, going out, but it's like going out into places that I would never expect to run into somebody who listens to this kind of music, and then having them be like, "Oh my God, you're that guy from that band," is really wild. Like that stuff will never get normal.
I was just gonna say, we had something like that same situation happened on the last tour we went with Black Veil. We were at this gas station, and some of our crew were wearing Dark Divine hoodies, and this girl walked up and said, "Oh, is Dark Divine in town? I love that band." And we're all like sitting there just like, it's my band. And she freaked out. It was really funny.
That's awesome.
Do you remember when you realized that you could sing and then when you could scream, or did it come vice versa? Or
well, I've been like a car singer. Like I'll sing in the car all the time and that kind of a thing. I've always like secretly tried to sing and record stuff. Like there's, I've been recording demos and stuff all my life. But it wasn't until like 2020, I think, that I actually was like, all right, I'm going to try vocals and see how that works. Because what happened was I was playing guitar in one of my old bands, and the singer quit. We were trying to find a new guy, but no one was really hitting the mark. And I was like, I can try this thing. I kind of know how to scream. I kind of know how to sing. And so I just never really had any training, but it was kind of trial by fire a little bit.
Did you seek training, or did you just kind of wing it? Oh, you did after.
Yeah,
okay.
like I watched like the Zen of Screaming, like the Voice Across stuff.
Yeah.
And now I watched a lot of, now I'm friends with the guy, but David Benitez, the extreme vocal guy.
What a fucking sweetheart that man is.
Oh,
I
he
love
is
him.
so sweet. I just hung out with him a few days ago.
He's the coolest.
Our last day in Syracuse.
Yeah, he's the best. I love that guy. I can't imagine making that switch from, it's one thing, a band's walking out in front of the same crowd, right? Yeah. But having an instrument almost gives you like a safety blanket. What was it like walking out on stage for the first time as the frontman rather than hiding behind a guitar?
No, it sucks because like you get used to your body like having this thing in your hand, and then once that's stripped away, you're sort of like, Ricky Bobby, what do I do with my hands? Like, it's just sort of like a weird like readjustment of like your physicality. Also, no one preps you for the in between songs thing. Oh, so like I can sing the songs all day long, but like having to look at an audience and just like talk to them, that was such a weird adjustment that I was just not prepared to make. I still have videos of my first ever vocal performance that will never see the internet if I can help it. But it was such a weird like thing to try to communicate to an audience who can't like communicate back as an individual, really.
Yeah, it's frontmen have the hardest job in a live performance, in my opinion, for sure. Like the rest of us playing an instrument have to deliver on our parts, but outside of that, our job is done. You guys have to
especially
keep the crowd engaged for an entire set in between songs.
Especially too when something goes wrong and a guitar player can just walk off the stage. But the singer has to stand there and like, hey guys, like tell fucking jokes or whatever.
Dude,
it
so
is
how about
to
the
keep
weather?
them.
That was another thing I wasn't prepared for. We on our last UK tour, our only UK tour, on our UK tour that we went on, the last show, one of our guitar players, he had ran out of batteries, or his battery died right on the thing, and we didn't have the spares on stage. He had to run to the green room, and I had to kill like 5 minutes on the stage, which talking to a group of people for 5 minutes sucks.
If it makes you feel any better, the Ghost Inside just did Shiprocked, and the first set we played, we had a ton of technical issues. I'm the gear guy, so I'm running on and off the stage the whole set trying to fix stuff. Jeez. And Vigil, who has been doing this for a long time now, still has a hard time at moments like that. So just know that when you're struggling in a moment like that, even dudes who've been doing it for a long fucking time still have a hard time at moments like that.
It's not fight muscle memory too. It's like you're like in show mode, so like everything is very like robotic, but then you have to like break out of that.
Yep. So just know that even the seasoned guys are still struggling with moments like that too.
Well, that's good to know. I appreciate hearing that.
But so you guys have a very unique like identity in the way you present yourselves. Like, where did that come from? Is that something that you identify with personally? Is that something that was like a discussion that you guys had as a band when all this stuff was kind of starting rolling? Like, how does that play into the puzzle of what you guys do?
Well, I mean, it was like the makeup and everything. Like, I was pretty much one of the only guys in my old band who wore makeup. Sure. As a singer, Robbie, our guitar player, he was the only dude who dressed up like a skeleton in his old band. Like he was always the skeleton, so it was like,
he's been doing that from before this band.
Yeah, like there's videos of his old band doing it, and he stuck out like a sore thumb because no one else did it. But he brought that kind of thing to this, and I was already planning on wearing makeup if I was going to do something like this as well. So we were just sort of like, if we're gonna do it, let's balls to the walls. Let's go all in. And
no half-assing.
No, for
only whole-assing.
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 I mean, my inspiration for that just comes from like I was a big Kiss fan. I was a big any band that kind of went above and beyond with their like aesthetic or their appearance and like the visuals and everything. So it just all felt very natural.
Kiss was my very first CD ever. My mom, like,
that was my first concert.
Santa Claus gave it to me in my stocking when I was a kid, and that was the first CD I ever got. Greatest Kiss.
My parents surprised me when I was 9. They took me to see Kiss. They told me we were
That's
going to
amazing.
the airport to pick up some neighbors,
Oh shit!
and they just drove us to a Kiss concert. That was really cool.
That's so sick. I've gotten to see Kiss twice now at Download. So 2015 was the last time Ghost Inside played Download before our accident. Kiss was playing that as part of their farewell tour. We went back and played Download again in 2022 as our first time back in the UK, and Kiss
They're
headlined.
still on the farewell
Still
tour.
on the farewell tour.
They've been farewelling for a
7
minute.
years later.
Yeah, they've been farewelling for a minute, and this is like their second farewell tour as well.
I love it.
I just saw them for the first time. I don't know. I'd have to look back at my phone, but I took my mom to see them in New Orleans a few years back. It was fucking unbelievable.
Their
so
production
good.
is ridiculous.
It's so
It is
fun.
insane.
Yeah.
It is just fucking insane. I'll say this, until I went to, and don't shoot me here, but until I went to Taylor Swift in October, Kiss was the best show I had ever seen. Now the Taylor Swift show is just fucking.
Outdid it.
I could fully understand that. I could
It
understand
is unbelievable.
Kiss is a big deal with high production value, but you can't
Absolutely.
you can't beat the production level of what she's got going on. You just
It
can't.
was. Did you go to the show?
No, I wish.
Oh my God,
I
it was
wish.
insane.
Because
It was
I'm
insane.
like admittedly a full blown Swiftie. I fucking love Taylor Swift. I don't give a fuck.
I've
what
never
anyone
listened
thinks.
to a single song.
I'm not the
That's
biggest.
wild. That's
I'm not the
wild.
biggest fan. I liked some of the songs. I do really, really enjoy this most recent record, though.
It's good.
I
Yeah.
really do like this most recent record. It's one of my. I don't say what go to, but it's one of my plain selection
Sure.
that I don't have to pay a ton of attention to, and
Yep.
I can relax and maybe go to sleep with.
Fair.
But it's a good.
So what you're saying is Taylor Swift bores you, and that all of the Swifties who may
No.
listen to this should come after you.
Oh sure, I'm up for the challenge.
That's a doof.
I got two of them
playing
that
with
live in
fire
my
in the
house.
Yeah,
so
he doesn't want
I'm
that.
down.
He thinks he wants it. He doesn't want that.
That heat is hot. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I saw the videos
well,
of that show where there was like a mountain across from the stadium she was
yeah.
playing in, and then that mountain was covered in people.
It's fucking wild, man. She opened up tickets that were no view tickets that were like behind this, like, you know, in the stadium, the back edge is like, the back corner is like
the
blocked
nosebleeds.
off. Yeah. Like that you just can't see. She sold tickets to those. And people were stoked. Just look out here and see the fucking TV screen.
I think it was in Philly. She sold out 2 nights, 70,000 tickets a night, and both nights there were 70,000 people outside of the stadium who couldn't get in, who just went to listen and buy merch from the merch outside.
The merch line was fucking it. Have you been to an NFL stadium before?
Yeah.
Okay, it was all the way up at the top, and the line wrapped all the way down the spiral thing to the bottom.
I believe
we
it.
were like, fuck this. I'll just go
Yes.
online and order. They sell the shit online.
Yep.
If you're smart, you just go to her website and buy it online.
Yeah, but you don't get that like experience of waiting in the line, you know?
I ain't waiting in that line.
That
I don't want
Disneyland
that
experience.
Dude, people were in that line for hours.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm good. I did get a hoodie though. I did. Fuck it. You know.
I mean, you did have some history with Taylor Swift, don't you?
Yeah.
What's that
Me and
history? I
Chris
don't-
Motionless.
Oh,
Me and Chris Motionless.
Did that cover?
yeah. I forgot about that. I should put a clip of that on here because I'm sure I have that on a hard drive
I
somewhere.
listened to it.
It's on fucking Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I'm
really
putting a
good.
clip
I still
in.
listen to it.
Go ahead.
actually
Straight
fire.
straight up, not gonna lie, I still fucking think Sky Tells All slaps, and I don't give a fuck what anyone
It
says.
was a pretty good time. We had a good time. They're trying to do a reunion show.
Oh my god, if you do a reunion
can
show,
I
I'm
please-
flying to Florida, Josh.
Fuck.
Dude, I'll be there.
I'm flying. I got to see you on stage again.
They're talking about. I'm afraid.
Oh, you coward.
Do the Taylor Swift song. I'll do Chris's part.
We will do. Okay, that's a deal. Unless I get him to come. But
Oh yeah, of course.
So, when you guys decided to move in a different direction from your main songwriter, was there any sort of fear with what was next for the band? Because that's something I've actually stepped into twice now.
Yeah.
When I joined Texas, the guy I replaced was the main songwriter at the time, and we had a bit of growing pains with the first record after that, which I think is a big reason of why none of us in the band liked that first Texas record that I was a part of, because it was just a weird transitional period. And when I joined the Ghost Inside, Aaron, who I replaced, was the main songwriter at the time also. So I've stepped into that twice. So, you know, were you guys worried about what was next after that? Today's show is sponsored by Bestronix Pro Audio. Let's be real. Your rig is only as solid as the cables running through it. Whether you're touring the world or building out your dream setup at home, you need quality cables that won't let you down. That's where Bestronix Pro Audio comes in. BTPA specializes in full tour rig builds, custom cabling solutions, and if you're the hands-on DIY type, they've got bulk cable and connectors so you can wire up your own setup exactly how you want it. Everything they make is road-tested, built to last, and trusted by the pros. And because you're part of the Late for Load-In crew, BTPA is giving you 10% off your order. Just use the code LFLI10 at checkout and save on the best cables in the business. So don't let bad cables kill your tone or ruin your set. Hit up btpa.com, lock in that discount, and keep your rig dialed and ready for the road. What's up, road crew? We want to take a second to tell you about an awesome program for music professionals called Sight for Sound from the team over at Neven Eyewear. If you're out on the road, whether you're a touring musician, a crew member, or working at a venue, this is for you. Neven is offering free prescription eyewear to the people who keep the music world spinning. We're talking high-quality frames, legit prescription lenses, and zero strings attached. Just solid gear to help you see clearly while you're out there doing what you do best.
Neven was founded by John Strauss, a guy who came up in the metal and hardcore scene, so he knows exactly how tough and thankless this life can be. Sight for Sound is his way of giving back to the scene that shaped him, supporting the people behind the music with something as simple and vital as clear vision. As Chris and I know directly from working in the music industry for the majority of our adult lives, we know there are no benefits or retirement funds, so this support is vital. All you have to do is head over to neveneyewear.com, fill out a quick form, and if you qualify, your new glasses are on the house. That's it.
It's an awesome way to take care of the folks who take care of the music, so go check it out, and hopefully we'll see you out there on the road with perfect vision. We all know that music isn't just sound, it's connection, it's healing, it's everything when you're feeling lost. That's why Late for Load-In is partnering with Heart Support, the nonprofit founded by Jay Klurs of August Burns Red to bring real, free peer support straight to you.
Are you feeling down and need someone to talk to? Just text Late for Load-In to 1-512-647-2871 and get connected with someone who understands, someone who gets how music pulls us through the hardest times. It's totally free, totally judgment-free, and 100% about supporting you through the music we love.
And if you're in a good place right now, you can be part of healing the scene. Heart Support is looking for volunteer repliers, fans like you who want to help others through the power of music. You'll be trained to support fellow fans who are struggling and join a community built on connection, mental health, and the music that keeps us going.
And again, if you need support, text Late for Load-In to the number 1-512-647-2871. If you want to be support, sign up at heartsupport.com/volunteer. Together, we're making this scene stronger.
Today's episode is brought to you by you, our incredible listeners and patrons over at patreon.com/LFLIpod. By joining, you'll get early access to episodes, exclusive monthly giveaways featuring rare memorabilia from Josh and I's time on the road, and access to our patron-only music review and reaction live streams. But that's not all. You'll also get into the Late for Load-In Road Crew Discord, where you can connect with fellow fans, submit guest requests, and drop your questions for the show. The best part? It's just $1 a month. If you love what we're doing and want to help keep the show rolling, head over to patreon.com/LFLIpod and join the road crew today. Now, back to the show.
Oh, I mean, of course, it's, you know, any step into like the unknown is always kind of like, what are you capable of? Because it really was a situation where there were two guys in the band writing at any point. Like that was how songs got written, and then producers would flesh them out. And that was just how, you know, music was made. So this is our first time ever having the opportunity to go like kind of producer shop and figure out like where our strong suits are as writers. And yeah, no, it was definitely a very scary thing at first. I think we've definitely locked in kind of as just like a unit, and it's you know, obviously I know Josh has heard some of the unreleased stuff. It's sounding good, and we're at a point where we're confident, but even still, like, it's all unreleased, you know what I mean? So all that audiences know from Dark Divine right now is, you know, the stuff that Jay was writing. So it's like we're hopefully gonna see what the audiences think. Hopefully we're gonna, you know, make people proud and just keep the identity and expand upon it.
So my next question was going to be, now that you guys have worked with some, you know, what some would consider some higher profile writers and things like that, do you think that what's coming next is what fans are expecting?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't feel comfortable releasing it if I didn't. I definitely, I'm very optimistic. Robbie's absolutely killed it as a guitar writer, and the producers we've been working with have just been killing the production side of things. And I think we have a clear enough vision for, you know, the aesthetic of the band and the identity of the band to kind of play around with it. We're definitely doing stuff that's a little bit different from what we've done in the past, but I think of it as an extension. I don't think of it as like a rebrand.
You have to do that. Yeah, you have to do that. You kind of have to push, you know, like, the boundaries in every direction.
Yeah, like if we just made another Deadly Fun or like another Halloween Town record, like that's great. I want to see like forward progression. I want to see growth. Yeah. I want to see something different. And you know, maybe not everyone likes everything, but I still want to see that like forward progression.
Well, you're never gonna please everybody, no matter what you do. I mean, you can do what whoever the fuck deems 100% perfect, and somebody will find something wrong with it. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've gotten to the point where I've stopped worrying about stuff like that, and it's just like if the 5 of us in the band are stoked, that's literally the only thing I need to sign off on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I'm curious. So I'm an audio nerd and a production nerd, and like I nerd out on producers. Who have you guys been working with so far?
So right now we just got back from some sessions with JD. Justin DeBleek.
Yeah.
Super sick, dude. We've worked with Hiram Hernandez. He's super sick.
Yeah.
We've worked with Chris and Kalen from Attila. They've been killing it.
Hell yeah.
And it's all been
I didn't
very
know that
different.
they were doing production stuff now.
Dude,
that's cool.
they rip. They are fucking amazing. They're a really good vibe to work with. It's a really cool environment.
Yeah, fuck.
You know them, Chris?
I know Kalen a little bit through Andrew because they were in FTFD together.
Fourth Fallen Dreams. Yeah, that's when I met him. We were touring together when he was in Fourth Fallen Dreams.
Yeah, no, their setup is sick. It's like a house that's like only a studio. It's out in Marietta, Georgia, and they have a studio house that you stay at. They have lodging, and it's just like the vibe there is really productive for like it's like very conducive for creative stuff. Yeah, no, they've been sick. I'm actually gonna see Kalen in a couple of days to work on some secret stuff.
We with Ghost Inside have been like the last record, the most recent one that came out last year was the first time that we kind of did the similar thing where we went in a sense producer shopping, like you said, where you know the other records have been kind of you work with one guy all the way through, or like in the sense of like Get What You Give and Dear Youth, it was Jeremy McKinnon and Andrew Wade together, but like that was the team for the whole record. Whereas the last record we went and worked with Dan Braunstein, and we worked with Joseph McQueen and Josh Gilbert, and we worked with Eric Ron. That song didn't come out, but we worked with Eric. Like we bounced around to different people to like find out where the vibe was the best, and we felt like we were getting the coolest stuff out of. And I think, I mean, obviously I'm biased. It's my band and our most recent stuff. In my opinion, it's the best. It's the best songs the band's ever put out, and it's the record I'm most proud of being a part of. But as somebody who likes being in a studio setting and like being creative in a studio setting, it was like the most rewarding process I've been a part of, just being able to bounce around and like pick the brains of all of these like extremely talented people. I feel like in a way it also has helped us like figure out what it is that we as a band do best, because it's like if you see what all of these different creative minds are like going to the most about what your band does, and you go like, oh, that's the thing that we do that defines us, is like that's the one thing that all of these guys are like pulling for more of, you know what I mean? And so I don't know, I thought it was a really eye-opening experience for us.
I loved it. I love seeing the like progression of because obviously, so Robbie had never really written anything for Dark Divine up until this point. So seeing his development as a writer and getting comfortable with that process has been really like rewarding. It's been really sick. He's been killing it, and it's cool to kind of put out feelers as to like what other people's interpretation of your band's aesthetic is.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because some people like
that's interesting,
have different unique perspectives. Like some people have different backgrounds in their production style, so it's like, how do they apply that to the kind of like spooky industrial sort of thing?
Right. What has, you guys being so young and kind of having this like really hot explosion because of, you guys, like you said, having the whole TikTok effect over the pandemic and stuff, and kind of coming out of the gates, growing really fast. What has the experience in the music industry been like for you guys so far? Like, have you experienced any like sketchy people yet? I mean, you work with Josh, so the answer to that is yes. But
of course, yeah, every day.
I mean, what overall, has it been like a mostly positive thing? Has anything about it been, I don't know, weird or uncomfortable for you guys at any point or anything like that?
I try to keep like an open mind about everything. So like we're very fortunate to be on Thriller, which is like a smaller label. So it's it's not so much like a big corporate kind of entity. where it's little fish, big pond, and you're very like pigeonholed to whatever your budgets are. Like if I wanted to text, Bob Becker, I could, you know what I mean? And he'll probably have time to respond.
Yep.
That's cool. And so it's being thrust into I'm 24 years old. I've never owned any sort of like business or anything like that before. So it is a lot of confusing stuff. But I do think that like the team that we're surrounded by is just very easy to work with, very easy to like communicate with. And so it is easy to just ask questions.
That's the best thing. That's the best thing you can do. Is I always used to say I'd rather ask a dumb question than make a dumb mistake. So like I would, when I was coming up, TM, and I would always kind of cling to the headliner TM. Kyle Borman was a big one for me. I don't know if you know him or not, Chris, but
the name's very familiar.
He's the TM asking.
Oh yes,
he owns Border Coach. He was a big one for me, man. I would always just kind of share his production office and just ask questions and learn and try, and that's the best way you can do it, because if it's one of those situations where if you act like a know-it-all, people don't want to help you. But if you act like, hey man, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, I'm really trying to figure this out, people are more inclined to be like, all right, this guy actually wants to learn, and he's not too good to pretend like, you know what I mean? So it's one of those
people want to see good people succeed. Like
exactly, that was always my approach with that, and I would always try to, like I said, I clung to him, and fortunately for me, Motionless and Asking shared same management at that time, so we did the U.S. multiple times, Europe, Australia, South America with them. So like I got to be like really close with him, and he always helped me out a ton. So I think that's my long way around saying I think asking questions is the best possible thing.
You don't know what you don't know, right? And so the only way to find out is to ask the people who are around you who do know. And
the thing is, it's okay to not know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people are like, oh, I don't know that, so I'm like weak or something. But no, you just haven't experienced that yet. It's okay to not know.
You know what else is? I think that especially younger bands, I definitely felt this early on with Texas, is you sometimes forget that like your manager, sorry, Josh, your manager works for you, the band. Yeah, and so you should be able to feel like you can go to them with questions and concerns, and like, that's what they're there for. That they're literally getting paid to like guide you through the process. You know what I mean? So, you don't know what you don't know, just ask. And I think that's awesome.
Would you? I guess Dark Divine kind of came out the gates pretty fast, right? And toured with Black Veil twice. Do you feel like you guys were ready for that moment, or was it one of those I got to step up to the plate and just do this because we don't have a choice type of thing?
I think it was more that, because it's up until that point we had done some long tours, but they weren't like crazy heavy duty. Like we toured with our friends in the band Limbs, and that was like a shorter run. We had toured with a band Until I Wake, and then we did like a short run with The Word Alive. So like they weren't anything. They were great tours, and they were great like stepping stone tours. That was the Black Veil tour was our first like upper
tour.
Yeah, it was like our first upper echelon band tour, where we were just sort of like, we're in a situation where like we're not familiar with how these venues work. We don't know what these schedules like. That was like, we had a handle on some of the smaller venues because they're, it's pretty straightforward. But this is the first time we had like protocol. This is the first time we had, like weird shit that you didn't typically find at your local bar. And so I think we definitely needed it. And we definitely needed to experience it because you couldn't really get like a perfect example is on the Bleeders tour. It was our first time working or playing at union venues with like I think it's called a black stage, where if you're on the stage you get fined after the lights go out. We didn't know that. No one told us. So like our gear tech at the time was on the stage, and he got ripped a new one by the head TM, and that was our first time being like, oh shit, okay, there's something here that we're just not familiar with. But you needed to experience that in order to have that like insight.
Oh yeah, the union stuff, they take that shit super serious, especially in New York.
Oh yeah, Texas played. It used to be Best Buy Theater. Was it PlayStation Theater now, or it's the Palladium now? That's what it is.
Is it?
Played. Yeah, it's called the Palladium now. And
interesting.
Okay, the underground one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We played it, and we opened the tour we were on, and our merch guy on that tour was like, this is way back before anybody was using laptops and shit for playback and stuff, and we were still running our tracks off an iPod. And our merch guy used to go out at the beginning of the set and hit play on the iPod that was at our drummer's kit, and he hit play 30 seconds before our set was supposed to start, which was technically still dark stage, and they wanted to fine us for those 30 seconds.
Oh, they take that shit seriously.
Yeah, they don't fuck around.
Well, because they get fined.
Yeah.
Because they have to pay X amount of, they have slotted hours and things like that to where these guys can work, and they don't. It's like double time or something up there, and they don't want to fucking pay that. So if they're gonna roll that shit over to you if they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had a lot of conversations with, like, so far on here has been more of the seasoned old guys, right? So they didn't have TikTok and Facebook and things like that to help grow their band. I'm curious from your perspective, kind of how you feel you have an advantage utilizing those platforms.
I think it's kind of an all-encompassing thing, because like we also do look different from regular dudes playing music. So it's flashy, and then in a 30-second reel that catches your attention, that's something. You see a skeleton playing guitar, you stop to see what it's about.
Yeah.
Right, true.
And so it's like
true.
It's kind of like an all-encompassing thing. So we've had videos go viral that don't include our music, and we've had videos that really are geared towards our music that don't do anything. It's kind of a crapshoot, but somewhere in the middle, like, you still get that traction. And it definitely helps, because like algorithm generated promotion, it's something that's like, I know that like a lot of bands would use MySpace back in the day to kind of promote their stuff. It's sort of like that, but it's sort of geared towards your own taste. Like, your phone is constantly listening to what you're talking about, and you get stuff thrown at you based on what you like. If you like this type of stuff, you're gonna hear about it. And I think that's kind of like, it kind of takes.
It's so strange. I remember when Instagram made that switch. Like, I remember just when like the algorithm started.
When Instagram started, it was your
back then. If your
timeline was sequential.
Yeah, if you followed somebody. When they posted, it was coming in your timeline.
Yeah, because the timeline was fully sequential. It showed up in the order that they were posted. It had nothing to do with like retention and stuff.
And you would see everybody that you followed.
Yeah.
Now you might follow somebody and not see shit that they post.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I following them for?
Yeah. No, it's because it's not so much like the app wants you to stay on the app as long as possible, and it's just kind of turned into this like guerrilla marketing business.
Oh, that's true.
Where they're like,
think about that. That's why they do it that way.
Yep.
Yeah, they want to keep you on the app, because that's how they get. Also, like, companies are now, back in the day, like when Instagram first started, there were no like businesses running out of Instagram. Now there's whole careers being made off of like social media and all of that. So it's like they're gonna throw stuff. Algorithm is like essential for making a business online, because you have to keep people glued to their phones.
Yeah, it's
sucks,
retention.
But,
it's retention marketing. It's the same thing that like
It's almost annoying too.
It's like, really annoying
because I'll look up like what did I look up the other week? I don't remember. I looked up something, and then I've got on my Facebook, I've got 17 knockoffs of what I looked up, trying to fucking sell them, and I'm like, man, I don't even want that. I was just Googling it for fucking whatever reason. We were in a conversation talking about it, and I Googled something. And now I will say, on the other hand, something that I did get fucking tricked into buying that I highly encourage is, I don't know if y'all have seen these bath mat stones, but you step out of the bath, of the shower onto this bath mat. It's a stone, and it just dries instantly. And I was like, damn, that's pretty cool.
I actually might need that.
Somehow
you might have sold me on that.
Somehow I bought 2 of them. Didn't know that, but I have 3 bathrooms in here, so 2 is one goes in one. Well, fine. But it was a good one. That was one of those situations.
And now that you've said that, now it's going to pop up on both of our Facebooks as well.
So that's what I was going to say. Is it's weird when the phone listens to what your conversation, and then you get recommendations.
It's worth it though. If you see the bath mat stone, highly consider it's worth it.
The weirdest thing that happened to my wife and I recently is we have a smart TV in our bedroom that we watch. Like we don't have cable here. We only stream stuff.
Us too.
And she was texting somebody, not even saying it out loud. She was texting somebody about something, and then we turned on the TV and we started getting fed ads on Hulu about the thing she was texting about.
I think it's connected to the network.
Probably, but it's just like, that's like, now that feels even creepier to me for some reason.
Oh,
I don't
everybody's
know why.
listening at all times. So
I hate it.
Don't do anything that you're uncomfortable with some weird fucking person seeing.
This is true. So I'm curious, do you feel like the internet success, like all of the virality and stuff on TikTok and all, and any social media platform, do you think that equates to the same amount of growth in real life? Like, do you see?
I don't.
I kind of feel that way too, which makes me feel even more like gross about doing it in the first place.
Well, it's definitely like a middle ground, because it's I've heard really cool 30-second clips of songs of which the rest of the song I hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so when you equate that to a live show, let's say like that people aren't familiar with the full set or the full song, or let's say you don't even have like players that can do it.
Yeah,
to you. Like
think about that.
I've also just like from meeting a lot of influencers, like the personality that they put on their social media it doesn't translate in person. It's not the same person.
No.
It's, that advertiser friendly influencer character. So like that doesn't always translate to a live audience. You know what I mean? Like if you put that person on a stage where they have to like actually make contact with people, it's not the same for sure, but it can be. It definitely, like, it depends on the artist, depends on the like players.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it play out in very real, tangible ways with bands like Bad Omens has come up for this specific example multiple times in a couple episodes, but Bad Omens, Sleep Token, both bands had major TikTok. I mean, or even Lorna Shore, like had these really viral TikTok moments that had ended up, materializing in very large growth of their band in the real world and ticket sales, and all the bands exploding. So it does happen, but I do think that that's like the more rare outcome. I mean,
that's because it's a good song though too. Like,
right? That goes exactly into what you were saying too. Yes, absolutely. The song has to be good as well.
Yeah, because people will use their sound in their own videos. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like a lot of those like songs where the band's already big, doing big things, and they have that song that a lot of influencers or a lot of like people on the internet use for their day-to-day content.
Yep.
And it almost becomes this sort of like passive promotion. Like now there's businesses out of it, but like,
I mean, I'll be straight up, like Epitaph, and I'm sure most labels are doing this now, but we were talking to Epitaph about doing a couple more music videos for the record, and instead they were like, we've been having more success pushing these songs out to TikTok influencers and having them feature them in their content. And we were like, you guys know way more about this than we do. So if that's the method that's working, let's do it.
As
it's just crazy how much that has shifted.
It's not the most fun topic because you don't always get the reaction that you guys gave, right? Some artists really still stand behind and want to do the traditional full-length music videos.
I love music videos.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, I think that I see it from both ways. And one thing that I've learned over the years is labels are looking at things, how do I say this without incriminating myself? They're looking at things more, for the most part, more so dollar and cents. And they're, the artist is looking at things from strictly a creative, because most times, 9 times out of 10, the artists don't have dollars and cents.
Right.
So they don't care about dollars and cents.
Right.
They're looking at it from, how do I take this song that I wrote and add this extension of a visual concept behind it.
Yep.
Right. So it's been an interesting shift in topic of conversation, trying to figure out how to navigate both sides and get both parties to see and understand both angles.
Yeah.
But I do get it from a label standpoint is that you're not seeing the ROI on a music video anymore, because the majority of time spent now is on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
As where once upon a time, it was primarily focused at YouTube after MTV and all that stuff went away, right?
Yep.
But yeah, it's this whole industry shift is so strange, and I'm curious. I often think, like, man, what is 5 more years going to look like?
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
Shorter.
What's going to happen when fucking, like, what is VR going to really take control and like?
So that's actually kind of interesting. I know when we were out with Chris and Kalen, they have a buddy named Dream, and he runs a VR thing, like a studio that does
with a name like Dream. I bet he fucking does.
Oh, dude, he's great. But it's like this 3D modeler where he's done it with a few artists where they take a 3D scan of a performance on their green screen stage, and they make a sort of virtual reality video that you can basically, they recreate the model in VR, and you can walk around this person who's performing.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. They were going to do it with us, but our schedules didn't line up.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I got to try it out.
I think Avenged Sevenfold did something like that somewhat recently, where they did a whole live performance, and you can go in VR and you can like walk around the band and like in between band members and shit and be anywhere. It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. The shit is wild, man. AI in particular is just fucking. I mean, ChatGPT alone is like.
You can write.
Scary,
this is kind of interesting. We were messing around with ChatGPT, and if you say like, I need you to write me a Motionless in White style chorus,
yeah, they'll do it.
It'll do it. And it's really interesting just to kind of see, like, we put different band names in and just kind of saw what it would create.
I mean, we jokingly a couple times have put in write me lyrics in the style of The Ghost Inside, and it'll write lyrics that are like eerily close to how Vigil would write a song. It's wild.
Seconds.
Yeah.
Seconds.
It's very crazy.
Some bands should go out and
just release
a song. No, just release a song that they had ChatGPT write for them and market it that it was written by ChatGPT.
But you know that there are people already releasing AI music, right?
Yeah, probably.
It's happening.
No, there are. It's happening.
It's happening.
And what's scary too is there with the voice AI thing, you can throw like my voice onto something you typed out. And I saw this thing. It was like a program where it used AI and MIDI to create vocal lines. Like you pick a voice and you pick your notes and you type out each word into the note, and then it just seamlessly puts that voice on it. I'm like out of a job now. You know?
Yeah, I simultaneously love some of the AI tools, and I'm also like fucking fully terrified of
dude.
The others.
It's fucking crazy, man. The shit that these pictures and shit that they're putting out online, like, dude, you could have some real problems with some shit like this.
I mean, it even goes past the pictures, dude. They're like full blown deep fake videos with deep fake voices that sound identical and look identical to the real thing. It's like they can make anyone say anything at any time and incriminate them, and you would have you would have such a hard time proving that it wasn't you.
Well, and what sucks too is like that also makes a precedent where like now you couldn't use video evidence to defend anything,
right?
Because it just invalidates any possible evidence ever for anything. It's
what a slippery slope we're headed down, man.
I will say though that I do follow this AI generated NFL press conference thing, and they make like the football players talk shit about themselves and their team, and it's pretty damn
I mean,
funny.
Used for comedic sense,
that
that's fine. But like, I don't know, just the fact that it could be used in malicious ways stresses me out.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Especially, well, thank God I'm not nobody that anybody cares about. But y'all two have, that's. Chris, you're famous, so like.
Oh, shut the fuck up! No, I'm not. Put me out of my misery at this point. You know what I mean?
Fucking problems.
Put me out of my misery. Just get it over with.
Anthony, what do you think that you guys have done differently as a band to get these endorsements by like Chris Motionless and Andy Biersack and all these like big players, right, in this culture? Because there's a lot of bands that try it and they don't get that endorsement. So like, what do you think you guys did differently to kind of attract that?
I mean, it's truthfully, I think that like being a makeup band and in like an aesthetic, you are in this sort of like more niche group of artists. Like it's a smaller group of metal artists where you stand out. Like there's no kind of getting around that. And I like to think that our songs are good. So it's I feel like having the right people around you, and it really is place and time. Like I know a lot of other bands that do makeup, that do make great music, and it's just wrong place, wrong time. I think just taking certain opportunities. There's an air of chance in everything. I think like we posted a TikTok that got the attention of Thriller, that they put us in contact with you, and we got in contact with a lot of people that way, and who got in contact with Matt Anderson, who booked us with it's a whole bunch of just sort of like people who know people and word of mouth. Hey, I have this band that's doing some stuff, and put this in your back pocket and see if you can do anything with it.
Do you guys think internally you realize how big that actually is, or is it something that it's hard to pay attention when you're inside of it? Because from an outside perspective, it feels as though it's like those guys acknowledging that you're the next generation of this.
Well, yeah, getting that cosign is definitely
it's huge.
A big
that
deal.
kind of like blessing. That's there. It's definitely easy to kind of get into the grind of everything and like not be able to zoom out. There's been little moments where like you just take a step back and you're like Apocalypse Fest, for example, going up and doing Abigail, or like just standing side stage and being like, the fuck is my job? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Those are like moments like that are huge, where you can kind of zoom out and really sort of take in the fruits of your labor. But it is a job, so like it is very easy to get consumed in it, and it is very easy to not see the big picture of what you're achieving and always be worried about what can I do next. But stuff like that, I try to take zoom out moments whenever I can.
You mentioned Apocalypse Fest, and we talked about this when we had Balls on too, because he obviously was there and a part of it, but that was a humongous. I don't know if y'all realize how big of a moment that was for me as well, because that record changed the trajectory of our lives. We say in the Motionless camp, and when Reincarnate came out, it was like, this is something special happening here. And then to have you guys play the show that was commemorating such a pivotal moment in all of our lives, for me, it was like as full circle as it could possibly come. So
I couldn't imagine.
It was really, really cool. It was really awesome that it's for me, it's this weird hesitation of like, I don't ever want them to feel like what we're doing is trying to rip them off per se, So to have him Chris, when I say him, I mean Chris, he's, you'll hear this if you listen to our first episode, but he is, I feel like I owe the majority of my career to that guy. So he's a really important person to me. To have him extend that olive branch and kind of show the fans and his fans that, you guys are a real band and this is not just some ripoff. It's just, I don't know. It just means a ton. It's really, really cool. So it's there's a lot of emotion invested in that for me.
It's cool to hear just from, because obviously Motionless is an influence. Like we always get the Motionless comparison, but that's just because we're spooky dudes who like wearing makeup and playing metal. Like that's that is, it's a genre of thing that exists and that has its comparisons. But it's cool to kind of get that sort of like blessing from your influences, you know what I mean, and be like, hey, this is, like, you guys are doing cool stuff. There's like an appreciation of it, and it's not met with like a tension thing. Like Chris is one of the easiest to talk to dudes I've ever met, and he was super nice,
such a sweetheart,
such a sweet guy, and like all the Motionless guys were sick and just really nice to talk to, which is cool. It's cool to like meet influences and they be actual like nice people, and
and it's cool too because like getting to go in and work with JD, like that came from him. He was like, no dude, way. You guys, at Apocalypse, he was like, dude, for the first time there.
Dude, he's the man too.
Have them come in and work with him, and I was like, fuck, I didn't even think about that. And then I introduced them to the band to JD that night, and it just happened. So it's fucking cool.
That's
man.
super cool.
Yeah, he's one of the nicest dudes I ever met as well. Like we became instant buddies as soon as those sessions started.
Just so I'm under, that's Jay. He used to play in Ice Nine, right?
Yeah, Ice Nine. Yeah, JD.
Yeah. I don't know him super well, but Texas played probably 9,000 like smaller shows with them in like New Jersey and like upstate New York and shit back in the day. So him and I have had a ton of interactions in passing. He's just the nicest dude.
He was the gear guy too in their band.
And that's I would always talk to him about gear. He like saved the day on doing a couple of gear repairs for us a few times.
Yeah.
He's just the coolest, and he's talented as fuck.
Oh,
he did gear repairs over you?
This was way back in the Texas days.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he did. So I want to go back. I don't really know. I know that you had a lineup change, but I don't know like what the deal was behind that. And if you don't want to talk about it, it's totally fine. But like, do you feel like moving away, like having that lineup change was the right decision for the future of the band? Yeah,
I mean, to say it with as much respect as it does deserve.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
That the member Jay was a pivotal. He started the band. He is a pivotal member of the band, and he is one of the reasons that we get to do what we do. Yeah, and I will never not say that that's the case. It was just a situation where when you're on the road, vices get available to you, And, not everyone's the best to tour with. Not everyone's attitude is the best on the road. And I wish the guy the best. I hope that he's doing well. We don't really talk or anything, but I do wish him the best. In order for this business to work, we had to just cut that energy out, for the business sense. It was just, and it's, everything that happens is for a reason, I feel like, and it just, I wish him the best. I think he's, I hope he still does music, and I so hope he still, is able to do that creative outlet. But it was essential for this business specifically to work.
Yeah,
and it's
that's totally fair. I mean, everything changes when you have to live in close proximity with people for long periods of time, and there are dudes that I've been in bands with that I loved when we started the band. I didn't love being with on tour, and now that we no longer tour together, I love more than ever. Like, I feel closer to them than I've ever been, and it's something about, like, I don't know, it's not easy to live on top of each other for long periods of time.
Not. And it's also like when there was also like personal stuff going on at the same time as business stuff, and it just kind of created this like really shitty situation for him. And not to like air out any of his dirty laundry, but it definitely, it needed to happen for him, and as well as it did for us. Yep. And I think that the best outcome happened out of it for everybody involved.
It's also, this is something that I haven't really taken into too much consideration until this exact moment. But, that's one of I feel like the downfall of bands growing at the rate that they're growing now with the internet, because you're known instantly. Your lineup is known instantly. Like, you got to think, Chris, you would know this. There's a lot of band member changes that happen in the early days when you start getting out there on tour and you're a small band and you're not under a microscope. Now young bands are under a microscope from the second they release their first song. So, what you guys probably went through is something that the majority of bands go through. It just
happened sooner, and
not even that it happened sooner, but you guys were.
It's happening under the public eye instead of
it's happening under the public eye instead of happening in the van along the between you guys and the small amount of fans that might know about the band, but it's not as big of a deal.
Oh, each member of the band has its own little cult fan base too. Like, I have fans that Tristan doesn't. Tristan has fans that I don't. And so like when we had to fire him, like it was weird. There was a lot of messages that we had to answer and a lot of questions, because every individual member of Dark Divine has a cult fan base, and it's just sort of like, you have to like justify to an audience that like this is the right decision for the betterment of the group.
Right. I'm curious about how did you, because there was some backlash from fans on it as well, right? How did you handle that?
I mean, it's changed. You just kind of stone face through and it's the same, like, whenever I see, like, a lot of backlash when bands go on certain tours, like, you'll see a wave of backlash of something because people don't like change or people don't like a certain thing. But ultimately, anyone who prefers one member over the band isn't a fan of the band. You know what I mean? Like, that's... Like, you're doing this for the fans. Like, the group has to succeed for the majority of the fans. Mm-hmm. So, like, I you just kind of take waves as it comes, and then eventually you reach stasis, and you just keep trucking. As long as you have
Did you ever feel any sort of discouragement from some of the comments or anything like that, or did you do a pretty good job of compartmentalizing and kind of ignoring it?
No, I do. Like, I don't really take comments to heart, because I wouldn't allow something to happen if I really had an issue with it, or if I wasn't 100% certain with it. Mm-hmm. There's a mutual respect among everyone in the band right now, where we're just all sort of like, we hear each other out, and we are very, like, everything we do confidently. If one person goes down, or if like we get comments about a certain thing, as long as we know what our big goal is, like, we don't get that many hate comments. Like, it's, you just compartmentalize it, and you just that as long as there's a big picture that you can achieve, all this little stuff just comes in waves.
Sure. That is such a level-headed way to respond to that I feel like...
For 19 years old, he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders.
For a 13-year-old, he got a pretty good head on his shoulders, man. No, I feel like that is like, I feel like us old head guys, and it feels weird referring to myself as an old head, but I guess in this scenario, I would be.
Look at your head.
Compared to, exactly.
And look at your head, it's full of gray.
I feel like...
your old head.
Yes, I know.
Go on.
I feel like a lot of bands that have been around doing this for around the same amount of time or longer than I have, I feel like probably have a harder time dealing with those negative comments that pop up. And I wonder if like just this younger generation of bands is just like, fucking who cares about that shit?
They grew up.
Yeah,
they grew up with
it. That's what I was getting to, is like, I wonder if it's just a generational thing where that hasn't been there our entire lives. Like, I didn't have this direct contact to my favorite bands when I was growing up, you know?
Like, people are also using it as promotion too. Like, honestly, like,
Sure.
I love getting negative comments because it's a prompt I can use for videos in the future. And the whole, like, you know, the whole rage baiting thing, there are bands out there where it's legitimately made their career, like just rage baiting. And it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know some people that they get eaten alive by the comments.
Yeah.
They just cannot, some people just have to completely get off. Like, if a big announcement or something's coming up, like, they just can't go on the internet because they know that it's going to happen. And it just, something inside of them cannot handle it.
I used to have a really hard time with it. And then then around the time we started releasing stuff for the latest record, I just told myself, because I knew it was different. I knew that there were going to be people who loved it and people who fucking hated it. And I just told myself, we like it. And so I'm not going to look, because I just don't care. Because anybody saying anything negative about it, it's not going to change the way that I feel about it.
And it's not like they were ever going to go to your show, right? Like,
right. And they're exactly that. The reality is that I feel like I've realized that the people who are talking shit online were never going to come to a show anyway. So I just don't care, you know? And it's like, it's, again, the negative comments are going to change the way that I feel about the music that my band has created. I still love it, regardless of how they feel about it. So I'm just not going to look. And so I haven't looked. I literally haven't read a single comment about our record since it came out almost a year ago. And I don't plan to. I just don't think it's healthy.
No, yeah.
I don't know what that, I can't imagine what that actually must be like, to be honest. Like, I guess I get it secondhand from my bands, but like, I don't ever have anybody attack me personally, so I don't know what that...
we've had, like... Because there's also, when fans develop kind of like that parasocial, like, hyper fixation on you, they sort of feel involved in your life. And I've had situations where, like, fans are, you know, fans, but people will say stuff just to kind of spark a reaction so that we interact with them.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
And that shit is annoying as hell. But, I don't... You know, it just kind of they break that sort of social boundary.
Yep.
And they just start trying to spark, drama or whatever, like just to try to get an interaction or just get a reaction out of you. It's annoying.
One of the most annoying things to me is watching people piece together their own narrative from a post that they think they have everything figured out. And I'm sure you can probably, with the lineup change, I'm sure you can totally relate to this to some extent, because I'm sure it was happening to some degree with you guys as well. But people take a post that, you know, you put out into the world, and they make up their own version of what that means and what must have led to that moment. I'm like, you have no clue.
No,
you have no clue.
Yeah, you were not there, and all you're getting is what we're giving you, which is like all, like, realistically,
which is all you're really owed, because you're not owed anything
at all. Yeah, when we were going through our lineup change, like, we were debating even making an announcement at all, because realistically, like, it's. We don't owe anything that we're not willing to give. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Like, I don't ask, you know, how many members of your family are you estranged from? Like, no, that's none of my business. That's not.
Right.
But
it's weird. Like, I think about this, and I often wonder, like, what the end goal is for them.
It's just people who like the band too, like to a point where it's kind of
unhealthy.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like that parasocial, like, well, you owe me an explanation because I'm dedicated to your band. I was like, no,
it doesn't work like that.
I don't understand where that came from, because
social media.
In the day, back in the day, like, it was, man, I keep saying back in the day, like I'm fucking 70, but
you're close.
I feel like it, but it's, you know, we would buy a ticket to a show, pay at the door or whatever the fuck, go to the show and enjoy the show, and that was the end of it. If we met the people, then great. If not, then whatever. Now it's like it seems like they expect that you have to, you know, you have to give them your time. You have to, you know, or you're a bad person. Yeah. But really, the only thing that you owe them is the performance from the moment you step on the stage to the moment you leave the stage, because all they purchased was a ticket to see the show.
Right. I think what it is too is because of the whole, like, pandemic thing, there was no just like the whole everything that had to go online, and so, like, you're getting, like, there's no shows happening, so all you're really getting are these personality pieces. So all these fans are kind of like, all they really have to grasp onto for this industry that they love so much are these personality pieces, and they get so like, you know, thrust into that now there's this just kind of like weird dynamic where it's like, I think I know this person because I've seen his videos. I think I know this person because I listen to his band. And blurring the line of friend and fan is like, it's weird.
You know, I think that I've experienced it a little bit too, and I don't know if anybody in your band does anything like Twitch or like live streaming and stuff like that, but like I picked that up over the pandemic, and I've been really fortunate that like I've actually built a really cool community out of it, and a lot of them bounce because Vigil also streams, so they bounce between mine and his stream, and like they'll plan meetups on our tours to like a bunch of them will come to one show together, and we'll all hang out and stuff. And it's like, it is very, very awesome. For the most part, it's been really cool. There have been one or two people who have gone too far because they hang out in the streams on a regular basis every week, and because of that, they think
fall in love
I'm hanging out with my friend every week.
Right. They think that we're, and I do consider a lot of these people friends at this point, because we've been hanging out on a regular basis talking. I know about their life. That I share a lot about mine, so they know a lot about mine. They come to shows, we hang out in person. Like, a lot of them I do consider friends. But there have been people who have gone half a step away from being like full-blown stalker, where I've had to be like, you can't come around here anymore. You're not welcome.
Yeah. Tell them that?
Oh, yeah.
It's a fine line, too, because it's like, you can be friendly. I mean, I'm friendly with every single one of my fans. I love every single one of them. Every single person that goes on, because I do Twitch as well sometimes, and like anytime they come on, like, it's a cool little community. That being said, there is still a wall there. Like, there's like, we don't hang out. I don't know anything about you. Like, I don't know what's going on in your life. You don't know what's going on in mine.
Right.
Don't like pretend that, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. So I want to ask one more thing about this lineup change that I can also relate to, and it's really weird that we have so many parallels going on right now. But you guys went from a 5-piece to a 4-piece, and I know that for the last year and some change, maybe year and a half of Texas, we went from a 5 to 4-piece also, and we didn't replace our guitar player. We just started playing as a 4-piece live. Was that a weird transition for you guys?
I think it's weird in that. No, it's not even weird. Honestly, it's nice.
I kind of liked it a little bit.
I like
honestly.
it. Honestly, it's not weird. It's just sometimes I do feel like there's not as much to look at from the audience perspective. So maybe there's something there. But as far as like, you know, it makes business sense. It makes like, we're still able to produce just as full of a sound. You know, because also like it's not like we have like shreddy solos or anything like that. We're just not that kind of band. Like, we probably could have, you know, right off the rip been a 4-piece.
Sure.
So it's nothing really changed about the texture, but now there's an extra bunk space, and now there's an extra, you know, it just, you know, we're not splitting the percentage as much. It makes sense. It makes sense.
I liked it. I mean, and to be fair, like we were running the second guitar through another Axe Effects, through another cab, so there was always a second guitar on stage. Not like the guitar was missing. I was just playing with a perfect guitar player every night, and we had extra space on stage. I loved it.
Dude, it's like the only people who would be pissed at the whole backing track thing are like,
oh, I don't even care.
I don't give a shit. Like, no one cares.
Let them talk shit.
Yeah.
Every fucking band uses backing tracks.
Everyone uses backtracks. Everyone uses auto-tune.
Yep. It's one of my favorite things to rant about, so don't even get me started. I will I will eviscerate people.
Please, go ahead. I'm ready for it.
It's not, I don't know. I just, over it's 2025. Let's
I just don't know what the fuck you people want, man.
Let's just drop the whole, like, anybody using using backing tracks is like fucking Milli Vanilli lip syncing shit. Like, that's not what's
happening. It's not the same thing at all.
It's not the same thing at all, but that's what the old heads, the people older than me, equate it to. And it's like, you are stressed out about it because you don't even know what the fuck it means. And if you don't know what the fuck it means, then you have no room to even speak on it. So shut up.
Do you have an iPhone? So you like technology?
Yeah.
Then shut the fuck up.
Well, and it's also like, do you want it to not sound good? Like,
that's it.
We probably would sound good without, you know, without live tune, without tracks, but I have to do this every night.
Sure.
I would love a cushion for some consistency, so that we can make sure that everyone gets the show they're paying their money for.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
I don't see anything wrong with
it. I think a lot of it stems from people just straight up not understanding what it is in the first place and making assumptions about what it is. It's literally a lack of understanding, which just makes them go, well, I don't like it. And it's because they don't get it.
It's just a crutch.
Give them a quick, brief understanding, but don't take too much time.
Of what? What playback is?
Yeah.
All playback is a click track for the band to play to so that they can play the songs as close to album tempos as they can. But again, that's already something that people get mad about, because playing to a
the song to play them like that they're used to hearing.
Yeah. But people look at click as like, oh, you're no. I need to go.
A good drummer,
this is
bro.
important. This is important. Click does not mean that you're playing robotic either, because you're human. You're never going to play exactly like click.
No,
you're
you're
push and
not.
pull. It's you're getting close to the album tempo. And then bands like,
which is what as a fan you're used to listening to.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And then on top of that, bands will typically run things like synths, strings. Bands can't fucking hire an orchestra to go on tour. So what they have strings in their songs, they're going to put them on tracks. Right. Yeah. A band that is a 4-piece that typically will have stereo guitars in their records, probably playing the second guitar part on tracks as well. My old band did it. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, we do it.
Yeah, I mean,
do it.
The Ghost Inside will sometimes have a part where it has 3-4 guitar parts at one time. I'm playing one, Zach's playing the other. The third, fourth guitar part will be on tracks because we wrote it that way. We want it to be heard that way live. That's the only way to pull it off. Some bands will use playback to also run MIDI to change the effects on their, modelers or whatever, so that they can play and they don't have to worry about stepping on pedals and shit. Like, all of this is in the attempt to make the live performance and live experience the best possible for the fans. It's not about cheating. It's not about not being good at what we do on stage. It's about being able to provide a better experience for the people who are paying to come into the show. It's not cheating. It's not fucking cheating.
It's not. It's like, why make your life harder for no reason?
Yes.
Now that we have a great understanding that Chris is a cheater, I want to move on now.
I was actually lying. We only play acoustics, and Marshall has
fucking knew it. I knew it.
Before Dark Divine, you had said you were in Not Enough Space, right?
Yeah.
They're seeing some success now too, and being from your hometown, are you proud of that? Do you feel any sort of competition with them, or is it all
the time?
like
Absolutely. That's the fun part, though.
Really?
I love the competition. Cool. I love
it's like healthy competition.
Oh, it's great.
Competition.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
similar
super proud of
styles, both on the same label, both from Orlando. Like it's, it's basically similar size in band. Like you guys are like right there, neck and neck, and
it's great. I love doing it because like we all hang out every now and again, and it's just fun to like throw what we got going on back and forth at each other, and they're great. I'm super stoked. It's cool to like. I love having friends that are doing the thing that I'm doing as well, and that are doing it well. You know what I mean? Because like also, Not Enough Space's sound as it exists today wouldn't have happened unless I left. Because we were doing like alt rock at the time, like it was nothing crazy. But so after I left, because I did harmony vocals, I know Lizzie wanted to hire someone to cover some more vocal parts, and that's when they hired Liv, and that's when the sound like started sculpting into what it is today. And it's super cool. I'm super proud of them.
Is the Orlando scene more about competition or camaraderie?
No, it's camaraderie. It used to be very like I feel like around when we started entering it, there was kind of like a toxic spell in the Orlando scene, but I think it's just gone through after COVID. It just kind of like wiped all the toxicity out, and it's just been this very like kind of almost like a renaissance where there's so many new bands. Every time I leave for tour, I come back and there's just like a whole new slew of bands that I just don't even know, and I get to experience it all for the first time.
Do you go to a bunch of local shows and stuff like that?
Yeah, because also once you've gone to like some of the bigger shows, you kind of see how the sausage is made, and it's sort of like I don't really enjoy being in the crowd for big shows anymore. It's hot. Yeah, it's like I like being side stage or backstage or something. Like I'm what is called a side stage princess. But
I just want to be. All of us. I want to be somewhere I can sit down.
Sit down,
my
right?
fucking legs don't
I don't mosh.
Stand
I
up
break.
that long.
Like I can't. So but that definitely gives me more of an appreciation for some of the more DIY, smaller stuff. Like I love going to. I went to a house show. Like a month ago, and I love doing that. I love going to like any smaller like DIY thing. It just I appreciate it so much.
I can't remember the last time I went to a house show.
Me neither.
You came to see me at a house show on my first tour with Texas.
I did.
You didn't stay for the whole thing. You came and said hi and then left.
Where was that at?
It's somewhere in Florida.
Really?
Yeah. That happened.
Shit. At least I came to say hi.
This is true.
Unlike somebody, we've realized this.
We're moving on. We're moving on. Next question.
Who was that on there? We were talking about this.
It was the episode with just me and you. But we're going to move on now.
No, it wasn't. You were talking about how you went and saw people or something like that. And
whatever. It doesn't matter. We're moving on. Let's get off this topic now.
All right. When you look in the mirror, do you see the person you thought you'd become, or has your journey kind of surprised you?
I definitely see kind of Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to do music. I was a guitar player when I was a smaller child. You know.
Oh, so when you were like 9 instead of 10?
9 instead of 10, yeah.
Right.
That's just last week.
Got it.
Yeah, so last week when I was
Don't
looking at
do
myself
that when
in the
I'm drinking, man.
No, yeah, I definitely look at the things that I do now, and I'm like, if I would have told, 10-year-old Anthony that, he would have been like, what? I had no desire to be a vocalist when I first got into music, and then it just sort of like kind of had this natural progression, and I'm definitely doing the thing I always wanted to do, but in this like kind of new flavor of it that I didn't expect to be doing.
Do you find yourself like having these, like you said, if you talk to younger you and he'd be like, what? And wouldn't believe it. Do you have those moments of like, I can't believe I'm here right now. I can't believe that I'm like talking to this person. I can't believe I'm doing this thing. Like I've had so many moments where like we had Jake from August Burns Red on the other day, and August Burns Red was a hugely influential band for me growing up, where we had Brian from Shadows Fall on as a guest. And that band was also massive for both Josh and I when we were starting out. And it's like, if you would have told me when we were making terrible noises in my grandparents' basement that there was going to be a day where I'd be able to just hit up these guys and chat with them and have them treat me like an equal to them, like a peer, I never would have fucking believed it. I never would have believed that there would be a scenario where I'd be in the same room, metaphorically or like for real. Like I don't know. Do you ever have these moments where you go like, I have to like stash this moment in my memory bank to like, because I can't believe I'm here right now?
Absolutely. I mean, like when we do, like we're also at a point in our career where we're doing some big shit. Like we're tasting it, and it's little events here and there that kind of like you can't help but just kind of take a step back and be like, dude, this is my job. Like I still work a day job, so I get to kind of have that comparison of
a little bit of a reminder
of like what off the road life could be. I could be doing this the rest of my life, but I get to sometimes go and play Apocalypse Fest and stand next to a band that I'm hugely influenced by. I got Tim Skold standing next to me. And I got, I'm about to go on stage with Chris Motionless. Like that's shit like that. It's like you can't prep for that. You just have to take it all in, and it's just it makes it real. It makes it very real.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hope that it's one thing that I am very conscious about. I'm not losing that part of my personality in like being wowed by stuff like that. Like I'm coming up on doing this as like my career, I guess. I feel weird calling it that, but my career for almost 15 years now, and I actively try to not lose that sense of like
childlike wonder and fun.
Yeah, because like I don't ever want to forget why I started doing this in the first place. You know what I mean?
Well, the scariest thing about it all, and to be completely truthful, is this shit could go away tomorrow.
That too.
Like that's a harsh reality that I fucking fear for my life for. And I keep my Walmart badge right here on my fucking thing. because and I keep it right here by my desk because it's a reminder of, man, you could go back there if you want to. Like, if you want to fuck around, like, you can very easily go back here and change oil and tires at Walmart. I'm sure they're hiring.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I just, I use that as motivation and inspiration to just, I got to work hard and be there every day. Because otherwise, if I don't, guess what? Somebody else will.
100%. Yep. If you don't show up, someone else will.
Somebody else is going to be there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing I'm really good at. I don't have I always knew like something was going to be music related for me in the future. I'm very lucky to be able to do one of the most fun elements of that.
Right.
I very well could go back to college and go get a 9-to-5 out of high school somewhere and teach music and like probably make a decent living doing it. But it's, I get to experience so much more of life right now. I get to take all that in, and it's just like, it's real. It's something that I don't take for granted.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. I was going to say, don't take it for granted.
Soak it in. Every single one of the experiences, just fucking fully soak it in.
And get out there and experience shit. Like when you go to Europe and you go to Australia and you go to these places, like go be a little bit of a tourist. Go see that shit because you're getting to go see that shit on somebody else's dime. Not, there's certain people who save up for their entire life to go visit London or who go visit wherever. Yeah. Go see that shit, man. That's culture. That builds your character, you know? I know we talked about this before, but I remember so many times of going to places and guys would just stay on the bus, man. And it's like, dude, what if you never get to go back here again?
Yeah, I can't.
You know?
I have my brain works too fast. I have to look at everything. I get antsy
what if you
when I'm
never
not doing
get the
anything.
chance? What if you never get to go back there again?
Yep.
And then you know, you miss
Regret
that
it
opportunity
for the rest of your life.
You might,
Yep.
or you might just be so self-centered that you don't care,
This
and
is
that
true.
could be a situation too. But
This is true.
You know, for the most part, like, man, go fucking see shit, go enjoy it, go experience this opportunity that you've been given to go experience. You know,
I'm curious. You said that like music is kind of the only thing you feel like you're good at, and I can relate to that feeling for sure too. I've never really had any other interest in life. I've just been very fortunate that this has been the path for me. But say we took Dark Divine or music out of the picture, do you have any idea who you would be, what you would be doing, where you would I don't know where you would be?
Not really. Truthfully, I used to draw a whole bunch, and I was very into film.
Okay.
So I probably would go into something film related. But even then, if I did that, it would be on the music side of things. I would want to
Sure.
do like music videos or like cinematography for that kind of stuff. So it's everything that I do is sort of one way or another routed into music and art. I'm not a cubicle guy. I'm an ADHD riddled fuck. I couldn't sit at a desk and do yeah. It's just not in the cards.
Adderall is my best friend these days. Otherwise, I would not be able to operate.
Yeah, no, that's genuinely
really,
how I
you
get.
take that shit.
Oh yeah, and it's been game changing.
I take Vyvanse. That's just
interesting.
like it's like super Adderall. It got me through high school.
Maybe
But,
I need to
Chris
look
is
into
getting
that.
ready to start looking it up.
I don't know. The ratios are a little fucked. So I would if it's Vyvanse is definitely like kind of a very concentrated form of Adderall. I don't know much about it.
At
But
risk of getting myself canceled by people on the right, at this point, who knows if we'll be able to have any medications by
We're
the end
not
of this
going
year.
to politics. We're not going
All
left
right,
and
moving
right
on.
and
Next
all the
question.
bullshit.
Next question.
In this fucking guy. In personal relationships or family, do you ever struggle to separate Anthony from Dark Divine and Anthony the person?
I
That's
mean,
a good
I
question.
definitely with friends and family, I'm just me. Like, you know, my family has seen me since I was like, you know, a loser kid growing up. Like, there's no real difference there. It is It is weird when there's a separation, like someone I haven't seen in a while, and all they really know is what I've been doing recently.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of gets weird, and it's because, you know, the band does consume a lot of my life, so everything I am doing is usually for that. But no, when I'm on stage, I'm in kind of performance character. Like I'm in.
I was going to ask if you feel like there's a difference between Anthony off stage and Anthony on stage. Like,
Well, they look pretty fucking different. So
Sure, yeah. That's fair. I just didn't know if you feel like it's like turning on a different part of your personality that doesn't exist when you're off stage.
I think it's more of an enhancement, really. I get to kind of, as an exaggeration. I get to like kind of be that more louder than life kind of character, larger than life character. That I always wanted to kind of be, you know.
Sure.
As a kid, you dream about being a rock star, but if you're a rock star 100% of the time, you're just a dick, you know. What I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I definitely enjoy being on stage and being able to be that kind of grandiose character, and then coming off stage and being. I feel like you see that with a lot of people. Like, you know, Chris is a good example. You know, he's just one of the sweetest, like mildest dudes I ever met, and then he gets on stage and he like kicks ass. And he's like, you know, this like huge character.
Yep.
I never asked anybody emotionless this, but when you put your makeup on, do you almost feel like you're activating this extra second personality per se?
Kinda. I mean, it's you stand a little taller when you're wearing clothes that make you feel cooler. You know, it's you can't help but you know, when you feel cool, you act, you know, confident, and it's something that like growing up, I was very like, you know, insecure and quiet. Or not quiet. I was annoying as shit, but like I was definitely like,
You and Chris really do have a lot in common.
I was definitely just kind of like this dude that had a lot of insecurities, but like those kind of aren't present when you put on an outfit or put on makeup that kind of, you know, makes you into this larger than life character.
Yeah, sure.
You know, you're not thinking about like, do I sound awkward right now? Because
Yeah.
you know, I got spikes on my shoulders, dude.
Who gives a fuck?
I'll kill you.
Right.
Yeah. Do you carry at this point in your life, Do you carry that same confidence with and without the makeup?
I mean, I'm definitely more confident with it on, but I'm also like I'm an adult now. Like I'm definitely not the insecurities that were like through high school. I don't give that much validity to anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't care how people think I dress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be a cool kid to fit in the you know, culture of that. But at this point in my life, I'm just sort of like, you know, there's people that are gonna like me and people that are not. But I have both, so like you can't have you can't have peaks without valleys. So it's just sort of like you need one to appreciate the other.
Did you say that you always wore makeup in bands?
Not enough space, but I was in a band called Cold Subject, and then I wore makeup then.
I'm curious, as someone who was quiet and insecure and things like that, like where did the confidence come from to get up on that stage and perform in front of crowds?
I mean, it's more of a love of the craft. Like I always loved music, and you know, it's that you get instant gratification from it. It's the live show is the instant gratification, or it's the you get to see the fruits of your labor immediately. You get to see the results of your hard work when people think you look cool and sound cool. So it's you can't help but be confident, and especially like I like the music we make, and people like the music that we make. You can't not be confident when you receive that.
And if there's a crowd of people out there singing the words that you wrote back to you, it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's kind of hard to be like, fuck, I'm just, you know.
All right.
Not confident.
I got one more question for you, and then we're going to go into our lightning round we call our day sheet. And I feel like I already know the answer to this question, just like learning a little bit about you over the course of this conversation. But what scares you more, the idea of putting all the time and effort into this band and failing, or becoming more successful than you ever could have dreamed of? Because like you know, growing to a level beyond what you ever could have imagined, or just failing in the process of trying to get there.
I'm not really afraid of success because I feel like I surround myself with people that I, you know, try to be like I don't want to lose touch with like humility or anything like that, no matter how big this band gets. And that's kind of the consensus in my band. Like none of us are too big for our britches. Like we have some, you know, we're not afraid to knock each other down a peg if we need to. Like, and it's chill. And I've also interacted with a lot of people who need to be knocked down a peg, and I just don't like that personality type. And to the point where I don't strive to be it. So as big as the band gets, I still want to go to local shows and just, you know, be chill.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm more afraid of just putting everything into this thing that's not gonna, because I've seen bands that have been around 20, 30 years that are still trying to make it work, and it's just not gonna happen.
Yep.
And that's, you know, playing bars for the rest of your life. It just that I couldn't.
I had a feeling that was going to be your answer, but you never know, because I know guys that I think the pressure and stress that I think that they imagine comes along with being a more successful band. I think that they find that scary too. And so it's definitely
scary. I definitely mentally am prepared to navigate that.
And I feel like awesome. I feel like I've picked up on that along the way throughout this conversation. So
he's really got a strong head on his shoulders for 17.
He really does. I thought he was 11.
No.
Anyway, all right. So now we're going to go into our lightning round. This is called our day sheet. And I'm going to throw some questions at you. Literally first gut response, toss it out there. Okay.
All right.
So our first one is first album you ever bought.
It was an Ozzy Osbourne CD. I forget what it was called. I think it was Blizzard of Oz.
Blizzard of Oz. Classic. Love that one. What's a song you wish that you wrote?
Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Great answer.
Wow. Solid.
If Dark Divine could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Linkin Park.
Fantastic choice.
Sick. Wait a minute. Chester Linkin Park or the new one?
I'd say Chester for sure. Because I like the hybrid theory era.
Yeah.
Linkin Park.
I back that. If you could only wear one color for the rest of your life, what would it be? I'm sure I know the answer.
It's black, yeah.
Yep.
Because black goes with everything.
Yep, same.
And it makes you look skinnier.
It does.
I need all the help in that department as I can.
Dude, I stepped on a scale the other day and it was 194.8.
It's almost 200.
I've never been that big.
How is that possible?
I got a fucking, my belly is getting almost as big as yours. It's crazy.
That's fair. You got me there. I can't even fight with you on that one.
So now I'm on a fucking, I put myself on a diet.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Favorite horror movie villain?
Leatherface.
All right, good choice.
Nice.
That's not one that I think most people go for very often. I like that.
I love Leatherface. He's sick.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Same. One thing.
I just drank tea.
Well, yeah, I
prefer coffee, but I just drink tea.
No one wants to do anything with you, though, so don't worry about it.
Bye.
One thing people would be surprised to know about you.
I can play the trumpet.
Respect.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Band and orchestra guy. I like that. I was the president of the band my senior year of high school. I'm that dork.
Oh, yeah. What did you play?
I was in the percussion section.
Okay, sick.
Favorite artist no one would ever expect that you listen to?
Aurora.
Okay.
Do you know who she is?
Yep. I don't
sick.
really know her music, but she's been popping into my feed a ton recently.
Dude, I love Aurora.
I'm not familiar.
Highly recommend. It's very
not familiar.
In touch with the earth kind of music.
I think in fact one of the videos of her that keeps popping into my feed is her with like a crowd of maybe like, I don't know, 50 people literally out in the middle of a forest singing a song. I'm like, okay, this is very on brand for what I feel like I'm getting from this woman. Worst habit you've picked up on tour?
Not getting sleep is a big one. It's just, it's impossible to get a full night's sleep sometimes.
Yep. I wish I could say I picked up that habit on tour, but that's just been me my entire life.
That's fair.
You got kids and shit.
It's just true. Who's the biggest troublemaker in your band?
It's probably me.
That's very self-aware of you. I like that.
I'm the only one, because I've told this story before. I hitchhiked one time to get to, it was in between the Word Alive and the first Black Veil tour. We were staying at this RV park or whatever, and I Ubered to a friend of mine who lived up a mountain in Colorado, and I couldn't get an Uber back for the life of me, and my phone was about to die, and I had to be, we had a meeting with the label, and I basically walked for about an hour down this mountain until I got to this gas station, and then I just asked a dude to take me the rest of the way.
Jesus Christ. So it sounds like you're the guy that's like, when the band stops at a rest stop, you're probably going to be the one that gets left behind.
I haven't yet, but a couple of us have, and it's hilarious.
Fair.
I got left one time.
Damn.
I've never been oil spotted, thankfully.
I was sick as hell, and I don't remember if I had my phone, but they left me. I was really upset.
Now your phone is terrifying.
I was really
That happened
upset.
to JT from Texas in July at a rest stop, and he had to borrow someone's phone, didn't know any of our numbers, so he had to log into his email on this person's phone. He found the publicist for Equal Vision Records phone number in her email signature, called her, and then had her call us to go back and get him. It was a nightmare.
Jeez.
How did y'all not notice?
Because we had a bunk system, and he was in the bottom bunk. He had climbed out to go to the bathroom, didn't tell anybody, and then came back after we were gone. One conspiracy theory you low-key believe to be true. This one could be dangerous.
This one could be dangerous. I'm trying to think, because there's a lot of them that I believe, but I'll say that there's something in Antarctica underneath the ice.
Okay, I can't necessarily disagree with that one.
What's under the ice, dude?
Just some testing. That's the question. Like when you look at
I haven't heard this one yet. I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, they're working on some it's like a military testing site under the ice in Antarctica.
Wow.
I think. I don't know.
It's certainly fucking possible. I wouldn't rule that out.
Can't rule anything out these days.
Did you ever watch that the Mermaids documentary that came out a long time ago?
No. Are they saying mermaids are real?
It was a fake documentary series.
Okay.
But they were made so genuinely realistically. Like they brought on fake scientists and they brought in fake evidence of the aquatic ape theory, where it was like, how apes evolved into man. Some subsect of ape went into the water and developed into like a mermaid like creature.
Jesus Christ.
Everyone believed it, and then it came out that it was fake, and everyone was pissed. I was one of the majority.
You believed it?
I totally did.
Yeah, I could see that being a thing.
It's like Mermaids, the New Evidence or something. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's really funny.
Crazy. Now I have to look it up.
Highly recommend.
Got two more for you.
Okay.
24 hours with no responsibilities. What are you doing?
24 hours with no responsibilities. I'll probably go downtown with my friends and just wreak havoc.
Last one. If your life had a warning label, what would it say?
Warning, hot content inside.
Touche.
All right, this is the last question. This is my favorite one. If you got a chance to have a 5-minute conversation with 16-year-old Anthony Martinez,
which would it be like? It would be like yesterday.
Yeah.
What would the message be?
It would probably just be. That's actually that's difficult because I like to think that every shitty thing that's happened from then until now has kind of benefited me one way or another because I just write about it in music. So it would just sort of be like take everything in stride and just write about it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Fair. I like that.
I love it.
That's a very self-aware, again, level-headed thing. You got a good head on your shoulders for a 5-year-old.
I appreciate it. That's what my mom tells me.
Anthony, thank you so much for taking some time and chatting with us today. This has been really fun, man. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it,
Dude,
man.
it was fun. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the time.
Hey everyone, Chris here, and I just wanted to take a second to say thanks for watching today's episode. You can check out more episodes of Late for Load-In on the right side of your screen and find any applicable links to this episode in the description down below. There you'll also find a link to our Patreon, which is the most direct way to support the show, and it's only $1 a month. Please consider giving this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to follow us on all social platforms, @Late for Load-In, @Chris_TGI, @Josh Carell. See you guys next week.